Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the air, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside the guys Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. We have ourselves a very loaded show here for you tonight. We're going to start out with NXT, the second week of Halloween Havoc. We got a very good AEW Dynamite that we got to talk about. We're going to be previewing. We're also going to be previewing the crown jewel that's going down this Saturday from Saudi Arabia. And yes, we are keeping a watchful eye on the World Series right now. Top of the eighth, the Texas Rangers are currently ahead 1-0 in the game. And if that scoreline holds, the Rangers will win the World Series for the first time in their franchise history. If needed, we will do bonus commentary here tonight on that game. Obviously, like I said, we're gonna focus on the wrestling first. However, if it does warrant it, we will cut in and we will cover possibly the ninth inning, the bottom of the ninth, if it gets to that point. If Arizona should come back and win it, then we're going to eliminate it, and there's going to be no point for that. So we'll keep a watchful eye on it, like we said. But as of right now, the Rangers are currently holding on to a 1-0 lead. All right. But with that said, we're gonna jump right in and start off with Halloween Havoc that went down night number 2. And here we go. So we started off with a tables, ladders, and scares match. It was the Creeds versus Los Lotharios, and the winners of the bout in this matchup in 14 minutes and 3 seconds was the Creeds. Absolute barn burner to start it off. Great matchup, to say the very least. I really enjoyed the fight. I really enjoyed the match. You could possibly make an argument that this could have been fight of the night worthy level to have it end in 14:03. To me, like I said, great matchup. Nothing more to say. I'll even go 3.5 to 3 3/4. That's how good this match was. So, Anthony Florio, you lead off. It's all yours.
And I'll tell you right now, because of the fact that we have a lot to get into, I will not be doing my additional observations and all that stuff that I usually do. But give a quick thought here. This was a wild and fun opener, sold by two teams that gave their bodies up to the spectacle. While the Creeds picked up the win, this was an even more important match for Angel and Humberto. They have been forgotten in the tag team shuffle and have so much more to give. There are teams on the main roster that cannot deliver performances like this. However, while this may be the end of the Creed brothers with the gold brand, it can be a new beginning for the cousins, who should be top challengers to the NXT Tag Team Championships. 3.5 to 3 wild and fun opener. Not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, what a way to start off week 2 of Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, what a way to start off week 2 of Halloween Havoc with a barn burner of a match with this tables, ladders, and scares match with the Creeds and Los Lotharios. I mean, I'll definitely say it 3.5 stars. I mean, this is a great way to jump off this edition of Halloween Havoc. I mean, you obviously had to give the win to the Creeds because, look, this is probably their last match in NXT because obviously after what we saw last night, they're bound for Monday Night Raw, and I know you, Anthony Florio, that you're really gonna love the Creeds on your show because that will be a huge boost to the tag team division on your brand. So, and of course, not just with the Creeds, but with Ivy Nile when it comes to the women's division. So we'll see what happens with this, but 3.5 stars. Let's move on, Fletch.
Next up for the North American Championship, Dominic Mysterio putting the title on the line against Nathan Frazier, winner of the bout, 10 minutes and 26 seconds, and still the North American champion, Dominic Mysterio. However, after the match was over, he got jumped from behind by, of all people, Wes Lee. Wes Lee coming out. Well, that kind of throws away my theory that I had going in, even though I think we kind of had an idea who it probably would have been all along. I probably would have said, fine, for what it's worth. Anthony Florio, it's yours. Dominic Mysterio wins the match, keeps the title, but right away, we already have a new challenger, a former champion in his own right.
Absolutely. And this was all Nathan Frazier, the good and the bad. It was mostly positive as he remains an exciting performer to watch every night, but he did run his way into some sloppier spots. Overall, it was fun to see him moving at full speed, and Dirty Dom remains a heat magnet in the ring with anyone, but he survived another night as champion. It is good to see Wes Lee back in action, though his return could have been more exciting. Bringing him all the way around to the title he lost seems counterproductive, but he may be the best option to dethrone Dominic Mysterio. 3 to 3.25 stars is the best I can give this. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, yes. Dominic Mysterio successfully defends again with the help of Mommy, but he's got Wes Lee now to deal with, and who knows, maybe his run will finally end with the longest running champion getting his title back, possibly.
Yeah, 3.25. I mean, yes, unfortunately, the outcome was never in doubt. Obviously, because of, like you said, Mommy having a factor in this match. I mean, but yeah, Dominic Mysterio's now got a problem, and that is Wes Lee. And I'm interested to see what happens with this. Could this finally be where Dominic's run comes to an end? Who knows? But we'll wait and see. 3.25. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, 3.25, no doubt, and I'm gonna move on from that. Unfortunately, we do have one cutout the whole night, just one. Braun Breaker versus Mr. Roberts. Actually, is that right? Yeah. Braun Breaker versus Robert Stone. Braun Breaker wins the match in 2 minutes and 38 seconds. It did bring back Von Wagner, so we now know that Wagner and Von Wagner and Braun Breaker is definitely on a collision course, no doubt about it. So nothing more to say on that. Next up, we did have was for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles, the champions, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green going up against JC Jane and Thea Hale representing Chase University. Winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 58 seconds. And still the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions of the World, Piper Niven, Chelsea Green, Michael Bullock, you lead off. Oh, by the way, it looks like Niven and Chelsea Green might only have that moment to relax because the unholy union of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn were at the crow's nest, and they had their eyes on the gold.
I'll tell you what, Fletch. I mean, they may be celebrating for now, but like you said, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn looks like they got their eyes on the women's tag team title. So they may be celebrating for now, but they may be running into some problems. But we'll wait and see. What was the time of the fall again?
8:58.
All right. I'll give it about maybe 2.5 stars. That's excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you very much, Fletch. Yeah, 2.5 stars is my rating. I mean, it was a good match. It could have been better in some spots, but it was fine for what it was. But Fletch, as I give it to you, like I said, Green and Niven may be celebrating and smiling and being all cocky and arrogant for now, but I think they're about to lose that with who they're going to be probably facing next.
And not only that, but remember, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were, I guess you can say, the last NXT Women's Tag Team Champions that the brand had. As you know, that they had, of course, they had the title for titles, the unification with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, but Shayna and Ronda won the match that made them, unify the belts. But the thing was, I don't really consider unifications. So it was just kind of a WWE Women's Tag Team title fight. And of course, Shayna and Ronda won that and took the belts off Isla and Alba. But now here they are, and they're coming after those gold. So I'm going to say about 2.25 was my rating. I thought it was a fun match. It was sloppy in certain areas, but I got to give credit to all 4 women. They did really well with this. And now we're looking at the future, and that's something that I really like. I don't know what it is. Everybody knows I got a liking to Alba Fire. I've been a fan of hers from the ICW days as Kaylee Ray. And I know Anthony Florio's has been pretty smitten lately with Isla Dawn.
Young Tabitha Lennox, as we call her.
Yes, the young Tabitha Lennox, Isla Dawn. So, I mean, Anthony Florio, it is yours. Like me and Bullock has just been alluding to, Chelsea and Piper successfully defend, but boy, do they step up in the level of competition on who's coming next for them and the women's tag team titles.
I'm going to go as far as to call this the sleeper fight of the night here. I had no high hopes for this, but this ended up being far better than it had any right to be, if I'm going to be honest with you. Solid 3 stars for me. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championships finally got a competitive title defense. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven showed off as a duo in a way WWE has not highlighted on the main roster. While the challengers looked close, it was clear neither had an answer for the power of Piper Niven, who is building back up her reputation with each win. And Andre Chase got in the way of JC Jane winning gold, which is certain to cause more strife for this Chase U alliance. So, sleeper fight of the night, solid 3 stars. And if Fire and Dawn are the next challengers, Chelsea and Piper can kiss those titles goodbye. Simple as that. Move on.
Next up we had was the finals of the women's breakout tournament, as it was Kelani Jordan versus Lola Vice. Winner of the tournament, 6 minutes and 56 seconds, is Lola Vice. She wins the whole thing. She wins the tournament, which in turn gives her an opportunity now at the NXT women's title at any time, any place, anywhere. So we were saying that we needed to find out who's going to be the first challenger for that title. As many of you guys know, it's the Valkyrie who now has the title. Well, Valkyrie, here's your first challenger, Lola Vice. And all right, I was reading a lot of comments from the social media. They are not happy. They felt like this was a failed tournament. The tournament was great, but they felt like Lola does not deserve the moment. This should have been Kelani. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. I was very high on Kelani Jordan. I know she is really young. I know she's relatively new. I know she deserves an opportunity. But the thing was, you've been hyping her up. Even when Dana Brooke was with her on NXT, you are hyping her up as a future star. This tournament was meant for Kelani Jordan. I felt like you really could have made her a breakout star, make her the next big thing, and you give the moment to Lola Vice. And I'm sorry, and don't get me wrong, I got nothing bad to say about Lola Vice. I think she'll be fine. I think for her to be a breakout will be very well. But once again, this is one of those things where if the iron is hot, go for it. And once again, WWE and mainly NXT drops the ball on this. They fumbled it. And I don't know how you're gonna feel, Anthony. I don't know how you're gonna feel, Michael Bullock. But to me, just personal. It doesn't have, if you guys disagree, you can disagree. The wrong woman won the tournament. That's my thoughts about it. It was a fine match. I'll give it 2 stars. But I'll say it once. I'll say it again. The wrong woman won this tournament. Florio, go.
I second that, Fletch. I second that. I mean, they were hyping Kalani Jordan. I mean, they featured her so many times on NXT. And this tournament was made for her. She should have won this whole thing. Instead, you give it to Lola Vice. Shawn Michaels and NXT dropped the ball on this one, and they should be ashamed of themselves. You're hyping Kalani Jordan as the future. And this is what you do? No. I'm not happy about it, and I don't blame the fans for being pissed off on it. Florio, it's yours.
All right. This match showcased Kalani Jordan's athleticism and ability to effortlessly transition through key moves, but it was Lola Vice who won with very limited offense. The action itself was not as dynamic as one would expect from 2 rising stars in the women's division, but it served its purpose. But MF said the wrong person won. Bullock said the wrong person won. I'm making it unanimous. What were you guys thinking? Seriously? No, absolutely not. Don't get me wrong. Lola Vice is a great young talent, yes, but you consider her breakout instead of Kalani Jordan? Absolutely not. What an atrocity here, guys. MF, I'll even go as far as to call this a miscarriage of justice. Honest to God.
Yeah, this tournament to me, I'll say it, was a flop.
Big time flop. Hardly any good matches. I mean, it was a snoozer of a tournament. They paraded around like freaking cartoon characters, for Christ's sake. So, yeah. I will say this. It's not questionable if the right person won. It's not questionable. It's wrong. It's damn wrong. Kalani Jordan has impressed consistently since arriving in NXT, and I believe she should be a part of that Iron Survivor Challenge coming up at the Deadline pay-per-view. To me, Lola Vice has a lot left to prove before she is anywhere near the title of Breakout Star. Absolutely not. 2.5, 2 3/4, I'll give it that. It was a solid, okay match, but the wrong person absolutely won. Shawn Michaels, I love you to death. You know I do. We all do. But, bro, you've got some explaining to do. Why? Why? Do I have to say anything else? Move on.
Yeah, nothing more to say.
Yeah, before that, I gotta give my rating. It's a 2.5 star match. I mean, it was, like I said, it was a good match, but again, the wrong person won. I mean, Lola Vice has still got some work to do before she comes anywhere close to challenging for a title. I mean, we've seen Kalani Jordan. Yes, she's young, but she's proven herself. You're building her up as the future, and now with this loss, it's like you just took her so many steps back. I mean, yeah, Shawn Michaels and everybody at NXT, they got some major explaining to do, and you better have a damn good explanation for this, because if you don't give us a damn good one, watch out. This this guy right here is going to find a shovel, and I'm burying somebody 6 feet under, like the Undertaker would. Done, finished. It's yours, Fletch.
All right. Well, quick update on the World Series. The Texas Rangers have broken the game open. They're now up 3-0 in the top of the ninth. We will have bonus commentary in the bottom of the ninth right now. So we're going to wait and go from there. So with that said, we're just going to move on. The main event, Ilya Dragunov, Carmelo Hayes for the NXT title. And it was Ilya Dragunov winning the match, 16 minutes and 42 seconds. Trick Williams basically made his way out, costing Carmelo. Looks like Trick and Mello were about to go at it, but then pan away, we had some chaos in the back. Baron Corbin jumped Ilya Dragunov in the gorilla. So we got two things to play with this, boys. Anthony Florio, it's going to be yours. We got two things to play with this. Dragunov successfully defends the title over Carmelo Hayes. Trick Williams cost Carmelo the title. Gee, I wonder why. But here's the other thing. Baron Corbin jumps Dragunov and was holding the NXT title at the end of the night.
Let me give my analysis on the match first, and then I will go off again. All right. No one is a better opponent for Carmelo Hayes than the Mad Dragon. They elevate each other. This was a different fight than the previous two battles, coming off extra heated due to some unspoken hatred. While their two pay-per-view matches were longer and more involved, that did not take away from the impact of the latest classic between two of NXT's best in-ring performers. The Mad Dragon needed to retain. He should be champion for a while with plenty more interesting challengers in store. Mello and Trick, meanwhile, have some issues to resolve. Yeah, Trick Williams cost Mello the match. Gee, I can only imagine why. What did I tell you guys last week? Carmelo Hayes attacked Trick Williams, so Trick Williams wouldn't be in that match because he figured Trick Williams, because he knows deep down in his heart, in his soul, that Trick Williams was the biggest threat to, and he was going to be the favorite to win that match, and he knew it. So he's like, I got to take him out because if I don't take him out, I don't get another shot. Oh yeah, there it is. Wow. But nonetheless, there's nothing left to say. Trick Williams, it's going to be revealed that Carmelo Hayes was the one who attacked him, and it's going to lead to a match with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams down the road. Maybe at Deadline, maybe on a future show. I don't know. We'll find out. Ilya Dragunov gets by Carmelo Hayes. Of all the possible next challengers, does it really have to be Baron Corbin? Does it really have to be? Absolutely not. No. I mean, it's one thing of what happened to Kalani Jordan. What happened to her? That was already an atrocity. This is an even bigger atrocity and an even bigger miscarriage of justice. What in the world has Baron Corbin done to deserve a title shot? Not a damn thing. Absolutely not. Nothing. And getting back to Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, why did Carmelo attack him? Because he knows deep down in his heart and his soul. Another reason. He knows deep down in his heart and soul that he can't beat Trick Williams one-on-one. Can he do that? Can anybody argue that point? Hell no, you can't. Michael Bullock, go. 4 to 4.25 stars fight of the night.
Yeah, and before that, I mean, we just saw it. Marcus Semien hits a 2-run home run, and the Texas Rangers have a 5-0 lead. And I'm telling you, boys, I think the Rangers are on their way to their first World Series title. So that's a quick update as far as the match goes. 4 to 4.25 stars, fight of the night, hands down. Yeah, Trick Williams costing Carmelo Hayes the match. Yeah, there's no doubt about it that we know why. Because it was Carmelo Hayes who attacked Trick Williams. And you know these two are on a collision course to face each other. But getting back to, of all the people, Baron Corbin as Ilya Dragunov's next challenger? Why? Corbin hasn't done anything to deserve a shot at the title. Nothing. He hasn't done anything. I mean, it's one thing Kalani Jordan didn't win the breakout tournament, but you put Baron Corbin as Ilya Dragunov's next challenger? No. No, I don't like it at all. 4.25. Fletch, I mean, this was a great match, but really? Baron Corbin, the next challenger? They could have done better.
I mean, look, I get it, I understand it, but yeah, you're like you said it. It's one of those things, you know. But well, there's really nothing more to add on that one. So, Michael Bullock, why don't you give me your it's 4 to 4.25 fight of the night, no doubt about it. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, give me your quick thoughts as we now get ready. Overall review.
Yeah, I'm gonna go rapid fire here on this one because we're about to go to the bottom of the ninth here. So, I thought this was another good edition of Halloween Havoc. I'll give this overall maybe 7.5. So, Fletch, it's yours.
7.5. Yeah, I think that's a good rating. Overall, it was a good Halloween Havoc event. The 2 weeks were very good. Yes, I know week 1 probably was better than week 2, but look, at the end of the day, it does lead us with some very good storylines. We got Lila Valkyria now possibly fighting Lola Vice for the women's title. Obviously, Piper Niven and Chelsea Green is definitely going to have to watch their backs now with Isla Dawn and with Alba Fire for the WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Wesley is back going after Dominic Mysterio for the North American Championship. We are most definitely now going to get Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes. That's finally gonna happen. And now apparently it looks like Ilya Dragunov's next challenger for the NXT title is Baron Corbin. I know there's gonna be a lot of scowls and not so happy pleasant moments about that announcement, but I guess we can live with what we can get. So nothing more to say on that. 7.5 out of 10. Anthony Fleo, it's yours, and then we'll move on.
Yes, indeed. The second night of Halloween Havoc was not as monumental as night 1, but it was still a good show. The action was steady, the moments were engaging, and the stakes were consistently high. The Creed brothers versus Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, and Ilya Dragunov versus Carmelo Hayes bookended a night of quality wrestling. More than anything, NXT nailed the vibe for Halloween Havoc, even more than past years. Relying on 2 pairs of hosts and a lot of costumes across the shows, the talent were having fun. NXT is keeping stories moving forward. The title scenes are shifting into fresh matchups that should keep the momentum toward Deadline on December 9. Ilya Dragunov cannot miss his champion, and he has a motivated Baron Corbin challenging him. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams will likely both get involved in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Lyra Valkyrie has plenty of fresh and familiar rivals lined up, and the women's Iron Survivor Challenge should set up plenty of intriguing challenges for the future. If the action remains this strong weekly and the rivalries grow more heated and diverse, NXT could rival Raw and SmackDown as must-watch WWE programming. 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you good old MF Michael Fletcher as we are on the verge of history, folks.
All right, here we go, guys. We are now in Game 5 of the World Series, and the 0-2 is low in the dirt. Ball 1. All right. So just to recap it, Arizona and Texas have been going at it on this game, and Gillum for Arizona had a no-hitter through 6, lost the no-hitter, and got 1 run through the board in the 7th inning, and then in the 9th inning, in the top of the 9th for Texas, a 4-run 9th inning Simeon with the home run. That was the backbreaker. And that has led us to this moment where now the Rangers are now 3 outs away. And actually, let me rephrase that. 2 outs away from the World Series crown as they got the strikeout to and is 1 away. So 2 outs away for the Rangers. Corbin Carroll, 1 for 3 tonight with a walk, a single, and yes, a stolen base. And that was low in the dirt, 1-0. It is Shorbs who's on the mound right now. He was in the 8th inning, came in the 8th, already 25 pitches already. And the 1-0 on the way is a fly ball, foul territory, catcher's got it, and they're 1 out away. They always say that they celebrate in Texas. They do everything big in Texas. Well, now they're 1 out away from having the biggest celebration of all time for the Texas Rangers in Arlington.
And just think, Fletch, this team was so close in 2011 to winning it, and we know the rest of the story.
Lost 100 games just a year ago, and now they are on the verge of winning it all. Marte's the last hope for Arizona. The pitch fouled off, and it's 1-1. Went off the umpire for a second. They tried to check, make sure that Blue is okay. Blue's fine. Kind of give him a pat on the shoulder, say, "Nah, I'm good. I'm good. Let's continue. Let's continue, guys. Let's finish this out." All right, here we go. The 1-1 in there for a strike. They're down to their final strike. Texas on the verge of winning it all.
Could this be the final strike of the baseball season?
The 1-2. No! Just missed! Oh, he framed it, was looking for it, and does not get it.
You can't get any closer than that, Fletch.
The 2-2. Got him! It's over! From 100 losses a season ago to now champions of the baseball world for the first time in their franchise history, the Texas Rangers have won the World Series. Can you believe this? Bruce Bochy is a miracle man. His third team he's taken to the World Series. It is only his second team he's brought him to paradise.
Oh, man.
The players explode out of the dugout and they are jumping over each other. Hugs around. The Diamondbacks are just watching as it's just total heartbreak and despair. And for the Texas Rangers, the light at the end of the tunnel, the Rangers win as they have captured their first ever World Series crown. Anthony Florio.
Well, all I can say right now is I'm a happy man right now because of the fact that, Michael Bullock and I both have reason to be happy because Bullock, the World Series title stays with the American League. Come on, somebody.
It does.
Absolutely.
It does.
Absolutely. And think about this, guys. The Texas Rangers, I mean, had a chance in 2010. They lost it. And then, like
They
we
were
just talked
dominated.
about,
San
2011,
Fran dominated them.
they were so close. They were 1 strike away in Game 6 of the 2011 World Series. And
Not
then
one, but
David
2
Freese
opportunities to close
changed. Yeah, then David Freese changed the whole outlook of the remainder of that series. And it was just heartbreak city for the Texas Rangers. And now here it is, 12 years later. They are the champions of the baseball world for the first time in franchise history. There were 6 teams that have never won a World Series title. Well, it's now 5 teams as Texas takes its name off that list. And think of all the great names in Texas Rangers history that have never had the experience like this Rangers team is experiencing right now. I mean, Nolan Ryan. I mean, one of the great names in Texas Rangers history. I mean, so many great names, and I'm sure right now they're proud of this team. As you can see on their shirts, yes, folks, World Series champions for the first time in franchise history.
I love
Florio,
it. I love it.
This has got to be a great moment, not just for them, but for the fan base in Arlington, Texas.
Oh man, I mean,
somewhere right now, Nolan Ryan is probably smiling like a Cheshire cat right now.
Oh, he certainly is. He certainly is, and I got to be honest with you. I mean, it doesn't matter who wins it. I mean, whether it's your team or it's not, you cannot help but be happy for these young men who worked so hard from spring training all the way to now, busting their asses, just to play this wonderful sport, the great American pastime. And
like Fletch said,
I get especially emotional. Go ahead.
And like Fletch said, 2 years ago, this team lost over 100 games.
102.
It was 102. It was the lowest point of this franchise. And now, fast forward 2 years later, they're on top of the baseball world.
And let me just say this. As I was trying to say before Bullock jumped in, whether it's your team or not, it's a special moment, and it's also and this is one of the rare times I get a little emotional. Reason being is whether it's a team that's won. I mean, it's a team that's won it before, okay, but I get especially emotional when I see a team win it for the first time, and especially a team that has had so many hard times moments. And well, because it took, when they first joined Major League Baseball, it took them 35. They didn't make the playoffs until their 35th season. They came into the league in 1961, and they didn't even make the playoffs for the first time until 1996. It took them 35 years, their first 35 years, just to make the playoffs. And they had those great teams in the late 90s, names like Juan Gonzalez and Pudge Rodriguez and Rafael Palmeiro, Dean Palmer, Rusty Greer, and among others. Johnny Oates, manager in the 90s, those great Ranger teams of the late 90s. They just couldn't get over the hump because every time they ran into my Yankees, and the Yankees always took care of business against them.
And don't forget Pudge Rodriguez.
I mentioned Pudge Rodriguez.
Yep.
You probably just didn't hear me, but
yeah.
But at the end of the day, Pudge got a World Series ring with the Florida Marlins in 2003. So
yep,
he got his ring. All those other legends I just mentioned, they never got a taste of it. But I am sure that those Ranger legends, like your Nolan Ryans and your Juan Gons and your Rafael Palmeiros and countless others who wore that Texas Ranger uniform, they're grinning from ear to ear right now. And what a story.
And just think for a minute, guys. And remember what happened. I mean, when they lost Max Scherzer, and they also lost a guy who was having the postseason of his life, Adolis Garcia. And when
I think many people, even though Adolis Garcia got hurt, you could make an argument that he could be the MVP of this World Series. You could.
Yeah.
You could, yeah, but I don't know. I mean,
when they lost those two, everybody was thinking, oh, Texas is doomed. this was a chance for Arizona to get back in the series, but
Nope.
that never happened.
Such resiliency. Losing your biggest bat and still finding a way to do it. I mean,
yeah.
And now I don't know if it's going to be Garcia. I mean, it could be, but you could also make a case for Corey Seager. You could also make a case for Marcus Semien.
Yeah, there's so many guys that it could be. And another stat, guys, the Texas Rangers went undefeated on the road in this postseason.
10-0.
They never lost a game on the road. They lost a couple of games at home, but when they were on the road, they were true road warriors. 11-0 on the road. And now the Texas Rangers are champions of the baseball world.
And I especially love seeing a team win it for the first time. And what a special moment for this franchise. And in the immortal words of Cody Rhodes, I mean, it took them 12 years, but they did what they did tonight, what they couldn't do in 2011. Finish the story. The story.
Yes, they did.
This is storybook, man. It's a storybook finish, and first ring for pretty much everybody. Well, Corey Seager, this is his second because he got one with the Dodgers in 2020. But give it up for Bruce Bochy. Ring number 4 for Bruce Bochy.
Like I said, he brought 3 teams to the World Series. The San Diego Padres in 1998. Of course, the legendary run that he had, it was the 3 and 6 years. That it was the 3. I think it was like 3 and 6 or 3 and 5.
3 and 5.
With the 3 and 5 with the San Francisco Giants taking over the team about a year ago, and now has brought them to the World Series.
Unbelievable. So
I call him. He's the miracle man. He brought miracles he brought a miracle to when San Diego got to the World Series, only their second time in their franchise history, and that's the last time San Diego actually. Am I right? Was 98 the last time? Because yes, it is. Because they got dangerously close, but the Phillies knocked them out.
That for the Padres, Padres got to the NLCS last year, and Philly beat them in 5.
Yeah.
But that was Bruce Bochy. That was not Bruce Bochy. That was whoever San Diego's manager is now. But what a story, though, man. I mean, congratulations to the Texas Rangers. First time ever World Series champions, 62 years as a franchise. Didn't make the playoffs until their 35th season of existence. And all those Ranger legends, they got to be, some of them are probably grinning like Cheshire Cats. Others got to have those tears of joy saying, damn, how I wish I could have been a part of this. But what a moment for them. For all those legends and those teams, those great teams in the late 90s. And, of course, Ron Washington, we can't forget about him, who took them in 10 and 11. And, Nelson Cruz and all the others from those teams. And what a special moment. And like I said, MF, it doesn't matter who wins it. I mean, there's only 2 times that I personally get emotional seeing something like this. When a team wins it for the first time, and also if it's my team, and we all remember 2 years ago, tomorrow will be 2 years to the day where you got to see your Atlanta Braves win the World Series for the first time in 26 years, and we'll never forget how emotional you were. So it's a special moment. It doesn't matter if your favorite team wins it or not.
The thing is, the 3 of us, we've experienced those moments with our teams. I mean,
absolutely.
Fletcher with the Braves in 1995, and then of course in 2021, and Florio with your New York Yankees. I mean,
multiple, so many times.
5
with the Yankees.
I got 5 in my lifetime, and I'll tell you right now, all of them were special, but for me, 1996 was the most special because they were underdogs. Many people did not give them a chance.
Yeah,
that Brave team in '96, and boy howdy, how emotional did I get when they won that World Series? I was an emotional wreck when they won that World Series.
And then of course, me in my lifetime, I got to see my team, the Boston Red Sox, win 4 World Series titles, but I mean, so many of those were so special. But to me, the one that was more special was 2004 because it was their first championship in 86 years.
And how emotional did you get? How emotional did you get on that win?
Oh, it was emotional because for me, because remember what happened the year before. I had to go through heartbreak,
Aaron Bleep
losing Game 7 of that ALCS to the Yankees. And I was thinking to myself after that, how is this team
were
going
we
to bounce
were
back?
we ever gonna win? Were we ever gonna win the World Series? Was that our last chance
Yeah.
in 2003?
And then all of a sudden we get to the playoffs, and then we fall down 3-0 to the New York Yankees. And I'm saying to myself, maybe this just isn't our time. Maybe this this was a sign that maybe the curse is going to stick with us forever. But you know the story. They won 4 games in a row, the Yankees, and then 4 more times in the World Series to break that 86-year drought. And then in 07, they win another one against the Colorado Rockies. You can also say 2013 was special because, it was the first time they clinched it at Fenway Park in 95 years, but it was also coming off the year when you had the marathon bombings and it was Boston strong. Yep. But then you can also see with 2018 because they had the most wins in franchise history. So all 3 of us had got to experience each of our teams winning the World Series. But for those fans in Texas,
yes,
they're going to get to enjoy this moment. Congratulations, Texas Rangers, and to all those great fans. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Job. Enjoy it, boys. Hell of a job. Enjoy it.
Yeah, enjoy it throughout the winter because winning it is one thing, but when you get set to defend it starting next season, that's going to be the big challenge for them.
It's going to be harder than anything they've done in their entire lives.
And the thing is that, you also got the free agency. So how many of these guys are going to still be a part of the squad going into next season? So how many of those?
Yeah, a lot to think about as we are now officially into the off season now.
All right. So with that said, we're gonna shift gears now. We're gonna go into AEW Dynamite. We're gonna try to get ourselves back in the show, folks. We apologize. I know you guys are like, "Where's the wrestling?" All right. We hear you. Here is the wrestling. AEW Dynamite. To start, we're gonna do this right here, right now, and this was from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. We started off with the international title fight, the champion Orange Cassidy versus Claudio Castagnoli, and it was Orange Cassidy winning the match in 17 minutes. Great opener to the matchup. Great fight, great battle. I could easily say possible fight of the night to start out. So yes, great matchup. At least 3 3/4 to 4 stars. And Anthony Floyo, I give it to you.
What was that time again?
17 even.
Oh yeah. No question about it. 4 to 4.25 stars. Fantastic opener here. Just bear with me as I get my stuff ready here. All right. I'll tell you what. Dynamite kicked off with a strong match for the International Championship that saw Orange Cassidy successfully defend against Claudio Castagnoli. Freshly squeezed overcame an aggressive, intense, physically dominant performance by Castagnoli, who overwhelmed the champion with his power advantage. As he has done so often, Orange Cassidy proved his resiliency, absorbing everything thrown at him and countering an attempted pop-up uppercut with a head scissors takeover for the win. The loss is devastating for Claudio, who has lost more than he has won of late and risks falling into the pack, despite being one of the best wrestlers on the roster. For Orange Cassidy, he continued a story of resilience and underrated toughness that has dominated his last year. Post-match beatdown by Jon Moxley and backstage challenge all but confirmed the two will run it back at Full Gear. and it is now official. It will be Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley for the International Championship on the 18th at Full Gear at the Kia Forum. If it's anything like what we saw at All Out in their All Out main event, we're in for another good one. So 4.25 stars. Certainly, you can make an argument for fight of the night here. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley gonna run it back at Full Gear.
Oh boy, I mean that is going to be something when these two run it back. But anywho, I mean 4 stars. You can make the argument for fight of the night, but what can you say? I mean, the run for Orange Cassidy, I mean, continues, and he continues to defy the odds. I mean, you're going up against Claudio Castagnoli. I mean, one of the most powerful guys on as part of the Blackpool Combat Club. But I'm telling you, I'm starting to get worried about Castagnoli because he's been taking some losses lately, and I don't know. I mean, I hope he can turn it around eventually, but yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more to say except, yeah, we're gonna run it back. Moxley, Cassidy, one more time, Full Gear. So there's nothing more to say. Let's move on, Fletch.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on. Next up, we did have was Tamaloya, Bishop Khan, and Brian Cage going up against Adam Hangman Page, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, the Young Bucks for the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team titles. Winner of the bout, 7 minutes and 50 seconds. And new Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, Toya Bishop and Brian Cage of the Embassy. Anthony Florio, it is all yours. History was made. Oh my goodness.
Well, in this case, it's once again Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, the Mogul Embassy. 2.5 to 2.75 of a star. Mogul Embassy made short work of the outmatched babyfaces and pinned Nick Jackson to score the win and regain the titles. An infuriated Matt Jackson tore the ringside area apart while Excalibur explained away the frustration as related to Swerve Strickland's actions toward Hangman Adam Page. Maybe it was the result of Swerve being the best heel in the company. Perhaps, though, it was the result of the latest career disappointment in a series of them. Could we be seeing the beginnings of a Young Bucks heel turn? We might be. So, 2.5, 2.75 of a star. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, Mogul Embassy, Brian Cage, and the Gates of Agony. Once again, the Ring of Honor World 6-man tag team champions.
Yeah, 2.5 stars, but yeah, what can you say? I mean, you could just see the frustration of the Young Bucks. I mean, could they be the start of maybe a heel turn because they are upset with Hangman Page with everything that's going on with him and Swerve Strickland. So we'll wait and see what happens with this. But this is an interesting development here when it comes to this. So yeah, so 2.5 stars, and yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. So Fletch, as I give it to you, and they have announced the World Series MVP, and no surprise, it's Corey Seager.
Yeah, I was gonna say it is a 2.5 star bout. It was a fine matchup for what it was worth. I was a little surprised with everything that went down, and it was fine in certain areas. I think it could have been better in other parts, but at the end of the day, you can't be too mad about the outcome. It's just, I'm not gonna say it left a bitter taste in the mouth, but it was still fine for what it was worth. We had some very good matches here, but there, like I said, there's really nothing more to add here. So yeah. We do indeed move on. Next up that we did have in the in-ring action, we had Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, aka 2.0, and they went up against Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho Omega and Jericho winning the match in 6 minutes and 35 seconds. And, Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, this was a short match. I mean, I was expecting a little bit more from it. Maybe not too long, but a little bit more. I can only give this maybe 2.5 for the effort here. But yeah, a nice win for Jericho and Omega. I mean, and a little bit of a backfire when it comes to Don Callis because he thought maybe having Matt Menard and Angelo Parker going up against them because they know everything about Chris Jericho since they were once part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. But yeah, it didn't go so well. But yeah, 2.5 stars. But Fletch, as far as I'm concerned, this was a disappointing match. I mean, I was expecting maybe a little bit more out of it, but very disappointing to say the very least.
Especially with the level of talent that's in this matchup, it should have been a lot more. This should have been somewhat of a banger, and it turned into a whimper. I'm gonna say 2 stars, solid 2. Really nothing more to add. And Florio, it's yours.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. This match was secondary to the announcement that followed, with the revelation of an 8-man tag team street fight in 2 weeks on Dynamite on their Go Home to Full Gear show that will pit the Don Callis family, Konosuke Takeshita, Kyle Fletcher, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Sammy Guevara against Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, Kota Ibushi, and Paul White, the Big Show, the Giant. Yes, we're about to see another 50-something superstar on AEW television when there is a roster full of bright, young, exciting stars on whose futures the company was built. While this booking decision makes sense with the context of the story at play, with Chris Jericho having a friend bigger than Hobbs, why even write that into existence? White is a legend and a future Hall of Famer who deserves everything he has gotten. But was anyone really clamoring for his return to AEW TV at this point? I wasn't. Nope. Damn right. At least a street fight.
Nope. No one cares.
But I will say this. At least a street fight will allow him to mask any weaknesses he may have at this point. Though the idea of the Callis family potentially losing to the mismatched team of babyfaces feels like a booking disaster. Yeah, I agree. This was the disappointing fight of the night. 2.5 stars. That's the best I can go. So with that being said, let's move on.
All right. Next up with that, we did have right after that, Hikaru Shida against Willow Nightingale. Hikaru Shida winning the match in 10 minutes. And oh, by the way, it was indeed for the AEW Women's title on the line. It was fine for what it was worth. It was a good match, about 2.5 to 3. But the thing was, after the match was over, the lovely Toni Storm comes out. But not only did she come out, but also look who also was there. And that was actually was Julia Hart. Julia Hart went up to Willow Nightingale. Sky Blue ran out face to face. They looked at each other. Then Blue turned around, stared at Willow, then tried to turn, and then got hit with blue mist by Julia Hart. So I don't know. We gotta wait and see how this plays out. I mean, there's a lot of interchangeable parts here. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Hikaru Shida and Willow Nightingale are great workers and delivered a fun match, but the outcome was never in question, and that is a problem. At some point, Willow needs to win one of these matches before fans lose confidence in her ever winning the big one. Sure, the company can turn that into a storyline at some point, but it feels like the fan sentiment for that moment to happen has already worn off to an extent. The stuff with Toni Storm continues to be great, even in small doses like this. The post-match involving Willow Nightingale, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart was equally as solid, as it gives the women's division a secondary program fans can invest in instead of everything centering around titles, of which there are few. Solid 3 stars, teetering on 3.25 for this one. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, Hikaru Shida successfully defends the women's title in an even 10 minutes against Willow Nightingale. And now she finally had enough. She couldn't take any more of Toni Storm's antics, and she let her know about it.
Yeah, 3 stars for me on this one. I mean, it was a solid match. I mean, by both, but yeah, as soon as Toni Storm came out, I mean, you could just see the look on Hikaru Shida's face. Like she basically had enough of the antics and decided that she was going to take action. And just when you thought that was done, oh no, there was more. Julia Hart, I mean, shows up with and looked like she was extending a hand to Willow Nightingale, and then Sky Blue shows up and then looks at Willow Nightingale and then turns around to Julia Hart, and we're thinking, oh, it's finally going to happen. She's going to turn on Willow Nightingale and join forces with Julia Hart, but nope, Julia Hart got swerved because she sprayed some blue mist onto Julia Hart as a little payback. So I guess this heel turn is not going to happen now. So
now what's also going to be what's also going to be interesting is what is going to be the ramifications. Remember how we were talking about the black mist, that it kind of alters a person. What is going to happen now to Julia Hart after she got blue misted by Sky Blue?
Who knows? I mean, we're just gonna have to wait and see what happens. So, I mean, I'm only guessing this, Fletch, and this is just a guess. This is not what I think is gonna happen, but a guess. But maybe this could turn Julia Hart maybe to be a face again. Like I said, this is only my guess.
Ooh, I don't know. I think that might make her even more dangerous. I think this might make her even more lethal and more angrier. I mean, Sky Blue might. I think Sky Blue might be able to. I think she might have just got the kryptonite, and who knows? We'll see.
And if that's the case, Fletch, that's not only dangerous for Sky Blue, but dangerous for the rest of that women's division.
Absolutely. No doubts on that. Yes. All right. So we're just going to move on. Main event. It was the Bullet Club Gold versus MJF and all the members of the Acclaim, including Daddy Ass. But Bullet Club Gold wins the match in 13 minutes and 40 seconds. So I believe this goes to... Who does it go to? Is it Bullock?
I'm trying to remember. You know what? I'll just take this, Fletch.
Yeah, all right. Take it.
Yeah, well, what was the time again?
13:40.
Yeah, I thought this was a good main event to close it out. I'll give this about maybe 3.5 stars on this one. I mean, obviously the heel team goes over, and wasn't there a stipulation with this, Fletch?
That not that I know of, but unless Anthony Floyo knows.
Where if MJF's team won, he gets his belt back.
Oh yes.
Well, obviously
that's not happening tonight.
Because Jay White's saying my team won, and I'm holding on to that belt. People say
Yep.
you're the champ, but who's holding the gold? And I know that's still. I know you were probably rooting for MJF to win this one, Fletch, just to see the rightful owner get that belt back. But unfortunately, the guy who you love to hate in Jay White is going to hold on to that belt. And he's probably saying right now, and you know what, Fletch? There ain't a damn thing you're going to do about it. You may not like me, but you better respect me. Well, that might not be the case. So I rest my case on that. So 3.5 stars. Good way to close out the show. So it's yours, Fletch.
3.5 stars, no doubt about it. I really got nothing more to say. So 3.5 stars, and yeah. So let's just move on. Anthony, it's yours.
Action-packed bout culminated with a hot tag to MJF late, an energetic barrage by the champion, and an emphatic Blade Runner and pinfall win for Jay White. While taking the pin as decisively as he did was a nice change of pace, MJF does not lose often, so beating him means something. Switchblade may not feel like he has a chance to win, especially with the revelation that AEW World's End will take place on December 30th in Long Island, but this goes a long way in building belief that he might. The stuff with Max Caster proving himself to MJF, then the four-way scissor at the end of the show was further evidence of the champion's growth and evolution since forming his friendship with Adam Cole. He is more willing to accept and let others in, something he would not have done 4 months ago. It is deliberate storytelling that hopefully has a payoff worthy of the months invested in it. 3.5 stars overall review. Let's go.
All right. Solid show. 7.5 again. Really nothing more. Anthony, go.
There was a lot to like about tonight's show. The MJF stuff is great because he as a performer is great. Orange Cassidy and Claudio Castagnoli had the fight of the night at the top of the show. And the intensification of the rivalry between Hangman and Swerve made for quality TV. Even the introduction of more than one ongoing storyline in the women's division via a segment that seamlessly intertwined them was a welcome addition to a show that is all too often quick to push that roster aside. For all the good there was, though, AEW continues to stray further away from the company that made fans fall in love with it in the first place. The feel is off. The median age of the stars on the broadcast grows with every passing week, and it feels more than ever like there is no long-term direction creatively, with the possible exception of the MJF stuff. Perhaps the focus should be on that instead of important announcements that could have been emails. Hello. As a whole, the show was good enough to earn a solid 7.5 rating. Moving forward, though, Tony Khan and company must ask themselves what they want AEW to be, because in its current state, that answer has never been less apparent. 7.5. It's time for us to time to move on to Michael Bullock and let him.
Yeah.
So Bullock, take this home, and then we'll get into our preview of Crown Jewel.
Yeah, 7.5. Nothing more to say. Let's get into the Crown Jewel preview.
All right, and we're going to go a little rapid fire here. There is one pre-show match, Sami Zayn versus JD McDonough. I'm going with Sami Zayn to win the match. I'm guessing the boys are going to agree with me on that.
Agreed.
It's a tough one to call, honestly, MF. I mean, that really could go either way, but because you never know, Judgment Day could end up getting involved. I mean, Sammy has been a persistent thorn in the side of Judgment Day. He'll get a chance to deal further blows to the group in a battle with Judgment Day's fringe member McDonough. I'm actually going to take a chance on JD McDonough. Don't be surprised if the Judgment Day get involved.
Okay. But I kind of feel like it's Saudi Arabia. I don't think that they're going to give McDonough the win. I don't. I honestly don't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So that's why I disagree with it.
I'm with Fletch. I mean, if it were anywhere else, I would say JD McDonough. But because it's Saudi Arabia, I got to go with Sami Zayn.
All right. So with that said, and it's a pre-show fight. It's not like it's an actual, on the main card. So that's the
Judgment
other
Day is always. Let me just say it like this: Judgment Day is always a threat to interfere and work some shenanigans. But once again, you don't really see it happening on the pre-show. The plan is for Sami Zayn to be a contender for the big belts down the road, and that continued elevation to the main event does not happen if he's losing at pay-per-views to, with all due respect, consider the weakest associate of the Judgment Day, even though he's not officially a member of it yet. Sami Zayn wins.
All right. So with that said, we do move on to the main card. We're going to start with the non-title matches, and then we'll go right into the big belts. All right. Damian Priest going one-on-one with Cody Rhodes. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
I'm not sure there are two people who have been involved in more Raw main event matches over the last year than Cody Rhodes and Damian Priest. They've worked together extensively, but I think Cody's promo to end this to end Raw Monday night, in which he accused Priest of being a follower, is the most invested I've been in this storyline. We all know what Cody Rhodes is going to do. He's going to go on to WrestleMania 40 and main event against Roman Reigns, unless The Rock gets involved. What Damian Priest's future looks like is a lot more complicated. He fits in perfectly with Judgment Day from a visual perspective, and he's really found his niche inside the group as the muscle and workhorse. He also has a fun, almost brother-sister relationship with Rhea Ripley, but she's also clearly the leader of the group, and standing next to her might put some kind of ceiling on his future development. That's likely why there have been consistent rumors that WWE may have long-term plans to turn him into a babyface. I have no idea if that's a good idea, but I do know Damian Priest has many of the natural gifts needed to hold one of the two big titles. The most important priority, however, is to keep Cody Rhodes looking like the biggest babyface on the roster. And that starts by winning big matches at pay-per-views or premium live events, whatever. So barring injury or a desire to further some kind of storyline we don't know about yet, I expect Cody to pick up the win here. So Cody Rhodes wins. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I gotta go with Cody Rhodes as well. I mean, obviously, especially if you're gonna build him as to possibly main eventing WrestleMania 40, he needs to win some of these big matches. And like you said, it starts now. So, winner of the match, Cody Rhodes. It's your sledge.
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm gonna go with Cody Rhodes as well. There's really nothing more to say. I think it was incredible, great, and yeah, really nothing more to add. So yeah. Let's move on to the next match. Solo Sikoa versus John Cena. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, especially, I mean, they're starting to work with John Cena even more, obviously with the strike still going on. And remember what John Cena said. He hasn't had a big time win in a long time. So I don't know. I mean, I think they're really trying to push Solo Sikoa as this really big name guy, especially since he's still aligned with the bloodline. So for him to really solidify himself with that, he needs a big time win. And what better person to have a big time win than John Cena? So I'm going to take a chance here, and I'm going to go with Solo Sikoa to win this match. But if John Cena were to win, I would not at all be surprised. But Solo Sikoa wins this one. It's your sledge.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This is tough. I want Cena to win this, but with the bloodline, with probably this is where Jey Uso could get involved here. And Jimmy Uso, I could say. I mean, it could go a number of different ways, but I think they're going to give it to Solo. I think they're going to give it to Solo, and I think he's going to win it. So there's really nothing more to say. And yeah, so I'll give this to Anthony Floyo. So Anthony, it's yours.
I don't like the idea of Solo losing here. I'd like to see him feud with Roman Reigns at some point in the future, and I'd like him looking as vicious and strong as possible when that happens. But John Cena also needs a singles win desperately. He's been so selfless with putting guys over since he's gotten older. But every time he puts someone else over, it makes it seem like more of an inevitability that he's going to lose big matches. That's not in anyone's best interests. So I could see Cena beating Solo here. It'll probably be in a very protected fashion. It'll probably involve Jimmy Uso screwing up and accidentally blowing it for Solo. Maybe he'll run out and accidentally super kick him. Maybe he'll accidentally distract the ref when Solo was about to win with a 3 count. Something weird is going to happen, and that'll further accelerate the friction between Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns. You want to know the last time John Cena won a singles match in WWE? The very first Saudi Arabia show, Greatest Royal Rumble, 2018, when he beat Triple H. I got a hunch he's due. John Cena wins. Move on.
All right. With that said, we do indeed move on. Now, from here on in, it's all championship fights. We're going to start it off with the United States title. Logan Paul going one-on-one with our champion, Rey Mysterio. I think we all know where this is going to play out. Even though we don't want this to happen, but I do believe we're going to have history being made. I believe Logan Paul will indeed make history, and I think Logan Paul will indeed win the United States heavyweight title. So, Anthony Florio, it is yours.
I'll tell you what, Logan Paul, I mean, he gets professional wrestling. I mean, he doesn't have a lot. I'm not saying he doesn't have a lot to work on. He does. There's a lot of distance between where he's at and where he would need to get to in order to credibly hold one of WWE's top 2 belts. But the question I'm asking myself is if the United States Heavyweight Championship would be better served around Logan Paul's waist. Right now, I think the answer is yes. Gunther has elevated the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship to the point where it feels like a big prize almost everyone on the roster would love to have. The United States Heavyweight Championship hasn't quite had that same momentum. Many of us hoped Austin Theory could get it to that next level, but his run with the belt felt like it was missing something. It's been nice to see Rey Mysterio get some late career shine, but it feels like he's got something else going with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits and the LWO that doesn't need the title. Besides, if Logan Paul does win the title, it sets up a potential clash with LA Knight. And I can already hear in my head how hot that crowd would be. Some people are looking to the Royal Rumble as the potential moment where LA Knight pays off all the crowd support he's gotten the last 6 months or so. But I think what's more likely is we'll see him pay off that crowd support by kicking Logan Paul's ass at WrestleMania 40 after what's hopefully a 6-month run of heel greatness from the social media star. Winner and new United States Heavyweight Champion, Logan Paul. Michael Bullock, I know we don't want to see it, but I think, I hate to say it, but I think this little turd's going to walk away with some gold here.
Yeah, I mean, as much as it pains for me to have to say it, but I'm going to agree with you guys. I got to go with Logan Paul here to become the new United States Heavyweight Champion. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's tough. I mean, even I'll say it like this. Look, as a professional, I'm going with Logan Paul, but as a fan, I want Rey Mysterio to win it and not let this ham and egger jabroni douchebag win this title. But I really think he's going to win the title and maybe set up, like you said, him against LA Knight at WrestleMania 40, and maybe this is where LA Knight would get his WrestleMania moment. But we'll see what happens. But so I'm going to go with Logan Paul to become the new United States champion, even though it pains for me that I had to say it. So it's your Sledge.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So with that said, we do indeed move on. The next thing that we do have, the 5-way for the WWE Women's World Title. The champion, Rhea Ripley, versus Nia Jax, versus Shayna Baszler, versus Zoe Stark, versus Raquel Rodriguez. Anthony Florio, you lead off.
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it's hard to imagine anyone has gotten more screen time on Raw over the last 6 months than Rhea Ripley. A meaningful case could be made that she's the main character on the entire show. And while it might be fun to watch her angrily chase the belt at some point, right now, I would prefer to see her continue to look dominant. If there's been one complaint about her current title run, it's been that she hasn't had enough meaningful feuds with other women on the roster. A lot of her screen time has been in service of handling Judgment Day business and or interacting with the top men on the roster. The build to this match has been a good step to alleviate some of those concerns, though. We've gotten quite a few segments of just mass chaos, especially involving Nia Jax, who has been presented as a real threat to win the title. Will she, though? I've got to imagine this is going to continue to be Rhea. She's at the top of the women's division, and to me, that means she should continue holding the title. So winner and still women's world champion, Rhea Ripley. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this will be a big challenge for her, but I'm with Florio on this one. I mean, I see Rhea Ripley winning this one. I think she's gonna take advantage of an opportunity when she sees it. So, winner and still the women's world champion, Mommy Rhea Ripley. It's yours, Fletch.
It's real. I don't think there's really much of a debate here and much argument to be made. So we're just going to move right on along. Next up, we have is for the WWE Women's title, as it will be Io Sky putting the title on the line against Bianca Belair. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
This is another tough one for me to call. I mean, I know Bianca she just got back, and people are saying, oh, she should win the title back, especially after losing it the way she did. But Io's been just so dominant right now. I just don't see her losing the title. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm going to say it winner and still the women's champion, Io Sky. It's your Sledge.
I think Io is going to win it. The only way that she doesn't is if Bailey blows up. If Bailey makes a mistake and costs Io the title. Now, this would be the perfect moment where you could have Bianca win it. But the thing is, there's quite a few people that does not want her to win the belt back. And a lot of people felt like it would be too soon for her to get the title. She just got back. Why would you do that? Unless you're thinking about maybe Bianca versus Jade Cargill. That now, if you do Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair for the WWE Women's title, now we're talking some business. But if that's not the case, then there's no reason for Bianca to win this belt. At least not yet. So for me, I'm gonna agree with Michael Bullock, winner and still champion. Io Sky. But again, the only way that this goes wrong or this goes sideways is Bailey costing her a title. Then you're gonna see some fireworks, but nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Hang on one moment here. Okay. Is Io Sky telling a championship story, or is she telling a friction within Damage Control story? That's what I have a hard time figuring out. I love Io. I'd buy her as a long-term champion. But sometimes it feels like Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair are telling a story about trying to win a championship. And she's telling a story about Damage Control maybe breaking up. That distinction matters because if the real story here is between Charlotte and Bianca, then Io needs to lose the title at Crown Jewel, Survivor Series, or even the Royal Rumble. I'm also very interested to see what the reaction to Bianca is going to be. Io is technically a heel, but she has a history of getting cheered at pay-per-views, especially at Backlash in Puerto Rico. Bianca wasn't getting the best receptions prior to her injury, but now that she's back, maybe she'll have the goodwill of fans again, or maybe she'll transition into being the heel some fans are hoping she'll turn into. I don't really know. And since I don't really know, I'm gonna take a chance and say Io Sky holds on to the title. So winner and still the WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky. Did Bullock go or do we move on?
Yeah, Bullock started it.
Okay, so we move on.
All right. So with that said, we do indeed move on, and it's the two big title fights. We're gonna start out with the World Heavyweight title, the champion, Seth freaking Rollins versus Drew McIntyre 1-on-1. Okay, now this will be interesting. A lot of things can go down. A lot of things can be laid out. But at the end of the day, I kind of feel like this should be Rollins' moment. If McIntyre wins, I won't be surprised. However, I do believe the winner of the bout and still the World Heavyweight Champion will be Seth freaking Rollins. So I got nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Drew McIntyre has recently gotten some changes to his character. He's essentially the same guy, but he's just not going out of his way to be helpful. It's like he exists in some kind of gray area between face and heel. He's not going to beat up grandmothers or insult the audience for no apparent reason, but he's also not going to lift a finger to help other people. He's looking after number one, and that number one is the best version of the Drew character we've gotten since his loss to Roman Reigns at Clash at the Castle more than a year ago. So on the one hand, I'd like to see WWE reward that forward progress with a big win here. Drew has had a lot more notable losses in key spots than wins over the last few years, and at some point, he needs to win a title and or beat a major name, or he's going to lose the fresh momentum he's created over the last month or two. I mean, the poor guy hasn't won at a pay-per-view since he beat Karrion Kross at this event 1 year ago. Crown Jewel 1 year ago. He's due. On the other hand, has he really done enough in this build to take the title off Seth Rollins? And should we be concerned about his alleged contract situation? Rollins has held the World Heavyweight Championship since the last Saudi Arabia show, Night of Champions, 5 months ago at the end of May, and defended the belt on 5 different pay-per-views since. I definitely don't think we're going to see Rollins have a multi-year run like Roman Reigns, but you shouldn't take the belt off of him unless there's a better story to tell. And while I know there's a story there with Drew somewhere, we just haven't seen enough of it yet. So I think they're going to keep it on Seth, and or we're going to see a Damian Priest cash in. So for right now, I'm going to say the winner and still the World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa. There isn't much more to say except Michael Bullock. Are we going to make it unanimous and go with Seth freaking Rollins?
I'm going to make it unanimous, and I'm going to go with Seth freaking Rollins. Whoa. I mean, it would not surprise me if Drew wins, but I think the wild card in this match, guys, is Rhea Ripley, because we've seen her and Drew interact. So I don't know what's going on with it, but I really don't know. So, but either way, I got Seth freaking Rollins winning and retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. So it's yours, Fletch.
All right. It leads us to the main event for the undisputed WWE Universal title. The champion Roman Reigns versus the megastar that everybody wants to see, L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
So, all right. I believe this goes to Anthony Florio.
Yeah.
Florio, you got the main event. Who do you got? Who's walking out as the Universal Champion?
MF, you have no idea how happy it makes me when I hear those words. Florio, you've got the main event. You know how much I love it. So, but anyways, I will give LA Knight a big yeah for being put in the biggest spot of his entire career. But it just doesn't make sense for either Roman's story or his for the megastar to win the title here. As much as I want to see it happen, and I do, trust me, I want to see it. There's no point in immediately going from never having held a title in WWE to holding the biggest title there is. He already has the crowd. They're aching for him to take a big step up and win a championship. But at this point, any championship will be a big step up. Cody Rhodes' story is that he was able to accomplish everything in WWE except win the WWE Championship, which no one in his family has ever done. For him, the United States and Intercontinental Heavyweight Championships don't matter. He even recently won the Undisputed Tag Team Championships with Jey Uso briefly. And while that was a lot of fun, that didn't really matter either. That wasn't where his story was going. But for LA Knight, his story is about gaining respect and progress. And he can do that by beating lesser people who are not Roman Reigns. Plus, there's nothing that helps a babyface become more popular than encountering a little adversity now and again. See Cody Rhodes. Winner and still the undisputed WWE Universal Champion. It's going to have to be the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. Continue that reign a little longer. And that's all I can say about it. So, Roman retains. Michael Bullock, I hate to say that because not only do I want to see it, I damn sure know you want to see it just as badly as I do and so many others out there as part of the newly christened Yeah movement. But as much as we want to see LA Knight win it, trust us, we do. It's got to be Roman for now. Sorry to say.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I really, really want to see LA Knight win it, and I want to see him get his moment and win his first title, but like you just said, it doesn't make sense to have his first title be a world title. I mean, you gotta have him at least win something like a United States championship, and then eventually he'll win a world title. I mean, like I said, as a fan, I want to see him get his moment, but as a professional, I'm sorry to say it, it's winner and still the undisputed Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, and he will continue his long historic reign. So it's your pledge.
Yeah, I'm in an agreement. No doubt about it. I believe it's going to be Roman Reigns as well. Did we want that to happen? No, not really. But at the end of the day, I think it is Roman's moment. So yeah, nothing more to say. We do indeed will finish that part. But there is one more thing we got to do before we get on out of here. We're gonna be very quick with this one because I hate to say this, boys, but this one might not be the best matchup for Thursday Night Football, but we got to talk about it. It is Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video, as it will be the Tennessee Titans going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers from Acrisure Field or Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The game is on Amazon Prime. You guys already know how this plays out. This is Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Haley Hartung, and it is actually Pittsburgh. 2.5-point favorites, the over-under at 36.5. Now, I'll say this. Any other time, you can go back and forth and say that this could go either way. But I really feel like this is Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh's going to win the game. I think they're going to win it. So we'll see how it plays out, but I think it's going to be Pittsburgh winning the game. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Yes. Just give me one moment here. Yes. First up, let's get this out of the way here. Now that obviously not everybody has Amazon Prime Video, so for the people of Nashville and Pittsburgh, Nashville, you can watch the game on your CBS affiliate, WTVF CBS 5 in Nashville. Pittsburgh, you can watch the game on your NBC affiliate, WPXI NBC Channel 11 in Pittsburgh. So CBS for Nashville, NBC for Pittsburgh. So with that being said, let me get into the other stuff here. Ryan Tannehill out. Rookie Will Levis threw 4 touchdowns in Week 8 in a sensational debut that included 3 scores for DeAndre Hopkins. Pittsburgh is 2-2 straight up in home games this season, and Kenny Pickett might be out on a short week. That means Mitchell Trubisky take the under in a low-scoring game. But, we do have, MF. With all due respect, I think this could be one of the better games of the league. Remember, we had this game ranked at number 4 on our games of the week for this week. This came in at number 4. So I think this game might be better than you think. And remember, there's a lot of history between these two teams going back to their divisional rival days. So keep that in mind before you you were a little quick to dismiss it there, with all due respect. But Pittsburgh leads the all-time series 45-31. Pittsburgh's won the last 4 meetings in a row against Tennessee. Their last meeting 2 years ago in Pittsburgh won 19-13. Tennessee last beat Pittsburgh overall and in Pittsburgh in 2013. That was a 16-9 win. But I got to go with Pittsburgh. I got to go with Pittsburgh in this one. I agree with MF's sentiments here. even though Will Levis looked great against Tennessee. But Will Levis crushed it, with downfield passing in his rookie NFL debut at home in Nashville. Pittsburgh's defense can give it up to wide receivers all over the field, but the issue here will be TJ Watt and the Steelers' revved up pass rush in prime time against a shaky offensive line that faced the pressureless Atlanta Falcons last week. Steelers find a boost for their own wideouts here against beatable corners to get enough offense, regardless of who's at quarterback for them. Pittsburgh wins. Final score for me, 23-17. Pittsburgh over Tennessee. Michael Bullock, take it home.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it unanimous, and I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this one as well. So there's really nothing more to say except let's put a bow on this, Fletch.
Well, we lost MF. I don't know if MF hit a wrong button or something or what have you, but okay, we got MF back in. All right, MF, wrap it up.
Hit the wrong button. I was about to do something different, and I goofed it. All right, so tomorrow night it's NFL College Football Thursday, hosted by Anthony Florio. Yes, the college football playoff rankings have come out. We're gonna talk about that briefly, obviously, while we're previewing all of the college football action. So we got that Friday, NFL Friday, hosted by Anthony Florio again, and that will also be at 10 p.m. Eastern. Both shows will be at 10 p.m. Eastern, as we will preview the brand new week of the NFL action. Of course, recapping the Thursday night game, going through the rest of the week, including a monster game from Frankfurt, Germany, the Dolphins versus the Chiefs. The number one ranking in the AFC on the line in that game. Then, of course, Saturday, Cerebral Smack Talk, 10:30. 10 o'clock on Saturday. We'll talk about AEW Collision. We'll have SmackDown Live. And, of course, the recap of Crown Jewel as well. And then we do it all over again Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. And we might do something special tomorrow. We did get some very bad news in the world of sports. I'm going to leave that to Anthony Florio if he wants to do it or not. But until then, guys, have a great night. For Michael Bullock, for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher, saying so long, everybody, and we'll see you all tomorrow night. Bye-bye.